Hello everyone, Leprechaun here. Today I'm going to show you guys a thing or two about the game 7 Days to Die, the survival horde crafting game. Just going to show you guys some basics. First off, when you start out you're going to want to make a handmade world. You're going to want to mess around with the options. And you're probably going to want to start with the game world Navazagain, because that is one that the developers work on the most and it is the cleanest, so I recommend that. And whether or not you want to go single player or multiplayer, that's up to you. You're going to want to mess around with the options. Zombies Run mostly is going to be what you're probably going to want to change, unless you are more experienced or advanced with this game, or if you just want to see it on normal difficulty, then just leave it alone. But if not, I would recommend changing it to Never Run, because at the night time zombies run, and it really sucks at night time because you pretty much can't really do much. But with that being said, we'll go ahead, hop into a game, and I'll show you guys a thing or two getting started. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do when we get on, since we're not going to have anything, is we're going to want to hurry up and scramble and gather as much stuff as we can. Just start punching things and gathering whatever you can. Namely, we're going to want to punch grass. Grass gives you fiber, which you can use to craft clothing and other materials. And then you're also going to want to punch trees as well, because that'll give you wood. And you're going to need these resources to craft the first thing that you're going to want to craft, which is going to be the stone axe. But first we've got to gather some more stones. You're also going to be looking for stones. Alright, now that we've got enough, we're going to hit the tab button. In the tab button, we're going to find over here in the left hand screen our crafting menu. And we're going to go ahead and select the stone axe and click craft. And down here it'll show you a timer, how long it's going to take to craft that. So we'll go ahead and put that on a quick slot as number 1. And we'll go ahead and start using our axe. Gather stones. Down there in the bottom right hand corner you can see how much more quickly we are gathering materials now. So there's stone, and then we'll also need a bit of wood as well. Alright, now that we've got a nice axe and some materials, and we've gathered some plant fiber, let's go ahead and make some clothes. So over here in the clothing section of the crafting menu, after you hit tab once again, we can craft a nice set of plant fiber materials. And down there in the crafting screen, I'll show you how long it is. And then you click on the material and click wear, and that'll put it on your character. And to find out what your character is wearing, up here in the top left hand screen, you can click on the character button, and that'll show your character and all of your active effects over here on the right, as well as all of your clothing and where it's allocated. There we go, there's the clothing that we've made so far. Over here on the right, you've got your level, wellness, which is your maximum health, your food percentage, water, what the temperature feels like to your character, and a couple stats: zombie kills, player kills, deaths, kilometers traveled, and items crafted, and longest life. And if you have any active effects happening to your character, they will happen in your bottom right hand screen corner right there. Alright, next thing that you're going to want to craft starting out, for defensive purposes of course, is going to be the hunting bow. So we're going to go to ammo and weapons, and right there at the top we'll see the wooden bow. And we'll go ahead and craft that. And once that's done, well, meantime, we'll go ahead and craft also the wooden club, just in case we come across any zombies. So we'll go ahead and equip that in our quick slot there. The wooden club is far more superior than the stone axe in slaying zombies, so that is definitely going to be a mainstay. Alright, next thing we're going to want to do is show you guys how to make blocks, or how to essentially build in the game. So we're going to go over to the building slot, which is the house, and you can select whatever you want. We can just start with the basic wood block, or the log cabin wood block, and select craft. So we'll make 2 of those real quick. Maybe some wood frames, because they're actually cheaper. Yeah, let's make some wood frames. Those are a lot cheaper. And then we'll select them and equip them, and drop them down. And there we go. As they drop, they are just wooden frames right now. Pretty weak sauce, easy to knock over, not very much hit points. Now we take our stone axe, which is a construction tool, and we right click. And as you can see, it upgrades it, but in the bottom right hand corner it takes away materials. So it takes 10 wood per block that you want to upgrade. So you got to keep that in mind. So that is essentially how to craft buildings, or basic block structures as of right now. And all of the different corners are at your disposal to mess around with as you please. Alright, the next thing that I want to show you guys is skill points. When you level up, you're going to go to your educational guy right here, and you are going to level up your character, whether by completing quests or leveling up. The first thing that I recommend you getting is underneath tools/traps. It's called Minor 69er. It takes 10 points that you're going to have to save up for, but it increases the damage and it takes away less stamina for the tools that you use, particularly mining tools, which is what you're going to be using most of the time. So that's an important skill to have starting out. Alright, and then the next thing is, now that we have a bow, we can actually start making some arrows and go hunting. But to go and make arrows, we got to get some feathers. So right here you can see a bird's nest. That is where you're going to find feathers to make arrows. In this case, we got an egg instead of a feather. So we're good on that there. Alright, next thing is, after we're done hunting and you kill an animal, once you use its remains and stab them enough to break down the materials, you will get a bone. And you can actually craft the bone into a bone shiv, which is superior to reducing the remains of an animal to more usable products like meat and hide and the important stuff like that. Alright, the next thing is, when you come across a water source, which let's see if there's one next to us, you will actually be able to drink from it if you use the right click. Now if you use the right click, that will drink it straight out. If you have a bottle equipped, however, it will fill the bottle or the can. Now one thing you got to remember is that when you're drinking from a water source, it's going to be contaminated unless you boil it. And in order to boil it properly, you're going to have to build a campfire. Right here, looks like we need one more small stone, so I can show you guys how to build that. Here we go. Ooh, another bird's nest. Get more feathers. Alright, now that we got a stone, we'll make a campfire. Now you're going to need to get a pot, or a boiling pot, to actually boil the water properly. Once you have a container, and once you enter the campfire, it enters a new particular crafting screen for the campfire over here on the left hand screen. So it's not the same as your character's crafting screen. So you got to keep that in mind. And the cooking pot's going to be right up there that you can place at once you find one in the game world. Alright, the next thing that we're going to go over is if you find any plants out in the world, they are useful. For example, this is the yucca plant. You can eat the yucca fruit. There's also chrysanthemum flowers and cotton plants which you can use to make cloth fibers. It's very important that you walk up to stuff and see if you can gather it, because that is essentially what you want to do when you're starting out. You want to gather as much stuff as possible and essentially just become a hoarder, because at this point everything has a worth, even though it doesn't seem like it right now. Because, hey, you have nothing. You want stuff. Trust me. Alright, and then also in the effect, the reason I made the club is because it's, like I said before, it's much more effective in combat. Keep that in mind. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is clothing. Clothing is an important part of survival, because if you don't have any, you're going to freeze to death, and that's going to affect your food processing. Also, if you're out here in the desert like I am, you're going to overheat very quickly if you're not wearing the proper type of clothing. So keep mind of that. When you wear it, it will show you what effect that clothing has on you over here in the left hand screen. So keep that in mind. Alright. Like I said before, make sure that you are looting stuff. Anything that looks like a container, i.e. this mailbox, is going to have stuff in it. So just loot it and hit the R button. The R button is the button to take all things out of an inventory. So that's important to note if you are having to do stuff in a hurry. These prefab structures are usually a safe bet to find junk in. So loot away, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, another thing is, depending on whether or not you listen to me and switch the zombies to not run during the nighttime is very dangerous if you leave the running on at night. Because essentially the zombies can outrun you and take you over if you come across a zombie at night. So in lieu of that, before night falls, you need to find somewhere safe to hunker down to hide from the zombies. Whether it be a structure that you made yourself, like I showed you how to make these blocks here. You can make a pretty safe structure. That takes a lot of resources. Rather, I would actually recommend starting out to go inside a prefab structure and, you know, making it a little bit more homey. Add some defenses to it. Make sure you got an escape route if something bad happens. And most importantly, make sure that you got a spawn point, which is going to be your bedroll, which takes 20 plant fiber. So it's insanely cheap insurance to make sure that if you die, you have an access point to spawn at a common location that you're used to. Because when you die, and you will die, you will drop all of your stuff that is in your container in a backpack, luckily. And you have the opportunity to reclaim that, but it's pretty easy to get lost if you continue to die, because the little blue backpack blip will disappear each time you die for the previous backpack. So you got to keep that in mind. So make sure that you are prepared for the nighttime, and if all else fails, well, you're probably gonna die. So just get used to it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys survived pretty good your first night. A lot better than I did my first time. So yeah, cheers guys. Have a good night.